On today's episode of The Hero's Blueprint, we've got a true force in the building. She's not just a teacher, she's an international mentor, transformational leader, and Feng Shui master whose work has impacted millions across the globe. You might know her from The Secret, which reached over 500 million people, or from her best-selling books, online courses, or Mind Valley Talks. But behind all that success is a deep, powerful mission to awaken and enlighten people to the energy they carry and the life they're meant to create. She's coached A-list celebrities, world leaders, billion-dollar entrepreneurs, and today she's here with us to break down how you can start aligning your space, your energy, and your life with purpose. Please welcome the one and only Marie Diamond. How you doing, Marie?
Thank you so much for having me, Joe. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for joining. I'm really excited to dive in. There's a lot of cool stuff that we're going to talk about today, but I want to get started right here with something very simple. For someone who's never actually heard of feng shui or dove into like what it means, what's the simplest way for them to understand it and why it matters?
Okay, thank you for asking that. So, Feng Shui is a Chinese energy system that's around for thousands of years. And it's only since the 1970s that it started coming more in the West. And so, what it really is, you can compare it with like acupuncture, but this time not for the body, but for your environment. And so, literally, the words feng shui means wind and water. So, it's all about vitality and life force. So, think about what is wind? That's our breath, right? Without our breath, a few minutes, we're not there anymore. And without water, within a week, we're out. So, it means like we need wind and water for vitality, for longevity. But it's not just in the body, but also feng shui is the energy system that we can think about acupuncture, Tai Chi, Qigong, Chinese medicine. They're using the same principles of tapping into energy or Qi, as they call that. But Feng Shui is really the system how to tap into Qi or energy in your environment. Yeah. So it's the same principles, but like in a larger body, the body that we have around us. Yeah. So this information has been evolving over thousands of years, and I made it a really big passion for me to make this mainstream in the West.
Hmm. I love that. That's such a that's gonna be so helpful for people because I think a lot of people when they hear feng shui, the first thing or only thing that might come to their head is furniture. And I think that it really helps being able to actually get a nice understanding and kind of like exactly what it is. So I'm curious for you, what was your very first exposure to energy work and transformation, and did you believe in it right away?
Mm. Well, as a child, I was what we call a very sensitive, high sensitive child, and I could tap into energy. I mean, I literally got very vivid dreams of things that would happen. I could see people's energy field. I saw, like, I remember when I was 5, my grandfather came in the house and I saw really around him dead energy. And my mother and him started quarreling and he left. And I raised to my mom and said, "You have to give him a kiss because tomorrow he's dead." Right? It's like things like this. And he died the next day. So it's not something I believed in. It's something I was connected with from a childhood on. So it was like my life. Like I would come into a place and I could see the vibrations and I could see if people were lying. It was just like the aura field would shift. I mean, it was like it was not an imagination. It was part of my life, to be honest. Right. So, and I didn't lose that. Sometimes children they lose it when they're like 7 years old, and I didn't. I kept having that access to energy. And thank God my parents were very open to that. Yeah. So they would be like, if I would say something, they would not ridiculize me. They would not deny it. They would say, oh, they were listening. Right. So that was a great gift in itself to me. I was also a very intelligent child. So, I mean, they had no complaints about me. I was having A pluses at school. But interesting for me, when I really, really started understanding more of it was when I was 15. And so when I was 15, I was run over by a truck. I had a near-death experience. I was brought into what they would call the light. There were beings of light. And they told me that I had to go back, that I was here to reach more than 500 million people and to enlighten them. Now, when I woke up, I had no idea out of coma what that really meant. And so, but the one thing that I do remember, I was very much harmed on my face because I fell on my face and my whole skin was ripped off. And so they want to do plastic surgery. And I said to my mom, don't do that. I'm going to heal myself. Now you have to understand, Joe, I'm from Catholic background. You don't heal yourself, right? Jesus
Hmm.
heals you, right? Angels heals you. And so, but that's the first time I felt energy in my hands. Yeah. And that's when I just knew that I had to put my hands on my face. And 2 weeks later, I had this beautiful skin that I still have till today. People still remark, on like how young I look. Even if I'm 62, I look much younger. But I always say I have a new skin at 15, right? I had a new face.
Hmm.
I had energetic plastic surgery. Let's put it this way. But the whole point was that was the first time I really felt energy that I could direct. And that's after that I talked to my spiritual mentor that I already had at that time. And I asked him what I did do wrong because I was already meditating, I was already praying a lot, I was very connected with the divine energy. And he said to me, you have bad feng shui. And he told me that the place where I was sleeping was really bad for my body. And it was the north side of the home, so there was no sunlight coming in. I was depressed. Was bullied at school. I was just like the whole space around me were wrong colors for me, very blue, and sleeping with blue walls is definitely not good in feng shui, because that dampens your vibration at night. So I moved into the western bedroom that my brothers had lived in before, and they were out of the house. I painted it orange, white furniture, put images around me. So I kind of created my first what I call three-dimensional vision board. Everything around me was reflecting of what I desired. A couple, like I wanted to be in love, I wanted to have friends. So I was just drawing all this. And that's exactly what started happening in my life. So I started practicing like basic feng shui at 15. And that's what really changed me into understanding more of energy.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack there, and I want to ask you. There's a lot of people I think that are listening right now that they've probably realized or become conscious of energy in a sense, but maybe they don't have the people around them who are open to it, or maybe they never actually dove into actually trying to understand what it is. So I'm curious, what would you tell someone who feels like they've felt this before, but just hasn't taken that initial step into understanding it? What can they do to try and go down this path that you've gone down?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I would say don't deny it, right? Don't just say, oh, that was something weird. I'm going to put this aside, right? Because when you feel energy, when you have like a special dream, when you are like getting an intuition or you have a gut feeling about something, I always say, first of all, listen to it. Yeah, just listen to it. Doesn't mean you have to follow up on it or take action upon it, but at least acknowledge that you have it. Yeah. And so, because that could open yourself to a new path of understanding. But if you deny it, then you will never understand. Yeah. So I did not deny it. I did not know what it was. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand there was energy in my body that later on, now so many years later, so many people do healing practices with their hands, and that for thousands of years that was known as Qigong, Tai Chi, and Reiki in Japan. So I had no idea about that, but I had to go through down the path to at least accept it that there was something happening in my body, or there was an insight that I received. So that was the first thing I would say to people, just accept it, listen to it, and you know don't push it aside. Yeah. Um, and then start exploring. I mean, there right now, you're so lucky, all of you, because you have so many podcasts and shows and books and YouTube videos that explain about this. When I was 15, there was just nothing I could reach. Like the library, I mean, that was not able to tell me any answers to that, right? So, the local library, that's all we had access to. So, you have to understand right now when you have that awakening of energy and that you understand something, there are so many teachers, there's so many modalities that you can tap into. And it's not that you have to pay something for it. I mean, there's so many beautiful podcasts, there's so many beautiful YouTube videos, whatever. Just explore, I would say. Right. So just explore what other people experience. And then you're like, oh, I had the same situation, and start integrating that into your life. Yeah, it doesn't mean you have to search for it, but when it comes, when you feel something, and we all have, for example, we go to a place and we hear something and we get goosebumps. Like, like everybody has goosebumps. I've never met anyone that never had goosebumps. Yeah. Well, what does goosebumps say? It's actually your hair comes straight, right? Or yeah, you feel like this tingling. Well, it's actually the chi, the energy in your body that reacts to something that is said or something you see, or perhaps you see you're in a moment in life and you feel very emotional. You feel like, oh, you would start crying. It's the chi, the energy in your body that reacts. So we all have that. And you're not saying no to that. So if you would go to the next level, that you feel something more deeper, or you have a deep intuition or a deep gut feeling, it's the next level of something you already have. Yeah. So I would just say explore it. Yeah. And don't deny it.
Yeah. I think that's great advice, and I want to give a shout out real quick to my favorite resource, which is actually the Marie Diamond app,
Ah,
because that is the best way that I got involved in this and actually learning about everything and energy numbers. And so I recommend everyone listening right now, go check out the Marie Diamond app. It's free, and there also is a paid version as well, but it's a great resource to get started from the master herself. So just want to give a shout out to that. But I wanted to ask too, for someone, so what does it feel like when your space is in alignment versus when it's not? And how can somebody start to notice that difference?
yeah. Well, one of the things that we want to tap into is in Feng Shui is to connecting with what that space feels like to you, right? So I think we all have these experiences that we go to a space, it could be a restaurant, could be a hotel, and you come in and you're like, oh, I love this here. This is a good vibe, right? Or a friend's home. And you're like, oh, you want to keep hanging out there because you feel it's really great. It's peaceful, it's harmonious. There's like you come and you feel like, oh, I feel so relaxed here, right? And then you come to somebody else's place and you're like, I'm not coming back here. there's there's something off here. We just feel it, right? And everybody can feel. You don't need to be hypersensitive for that, right? So that's the first thing I want you to become aware of. The second thing, I want you to go through your space, go through your home, and really like I call it an energetic audit. Like you open your space, you open the door and you walk through it, but not like unconscious, but this time in a conscious way. Like, what do I have in my entrance? What do I have in my living room? What's in my bedroom? What's in my dining room? Like, look around and look at it from a perspective if you would be a guest, or if you would be God or the universe or somebody important coming to visit you. And it's like, oh, what do they see? Oh my God, they see all clutter on the dining room table, right? Or I never make up my bed, right? Or the images around me, they're like, I did hang them out like randomly, but what do they say? Like, what is the subconscious message that is giving? And so I want you to pay attention. So I call that an energetic audit where you ask yourself two questions. The first question is this who I am? Like, is what is around me, the colors, the images, because everything is like a vision board. It's like a message board towards your subconscious mind. Is this who I am? And the question after it is this who I want to be? Is this me in the future? So let's say, and I was just having yesterday a podcast with Reverend Michael Beckwith, who's also in The Secret. And we're talking about this concept. And it's like, oh my God, I have in my home so many Buddhas, right? It's very temple-ish. And I said, well, you're a reverend, you're leading a congregation. I get that, right? But he said, yeah, perhaps there's a little bit too much, you know, because what it actually says, I'm the Buddha, I'm in peace and harmony. I said, well, your home is more than a temple. It's also the place where you gather your family, where you meet up your friends, where you have explored the romantic life part of your life. So I said, if you have too many Buddhas, you're kind of saying, I'm focusing more on that spiritual level. Right. So for him, he's like, okay, I know what to do. So the whole point is I want you to pay attention. Yeah. And give you a few examples. Let's say in your bedroom, you have all images of single people hanging out. Yeah. You're actually saying all the time, I'm okay by being single. Yeah. Now that is perhaps who you are right now, but the question is this who you want to be? Like, and you say, no, I want romance. I want friends. So then put pictures up or images or statues that show that. So it's not about furniture at that point. It's really about the energy that reflects from everything that is around you.
Yeah. So I want to ask a follow-up question for that. Let's say somebody does the audit and they are like, oh my gosh, my place does not feel like home to me. Like, and now they're just starting to realize like everything kind of feels off, their energy, that it might be draining. What is one practical change that you would recommend them to do today that could help shift their energy from negative to positive or for them?
Yeah. Well, I would say the first thing is to let go of things that are broken, things that are cluttered. Yeah. Um, in a way, less is more. So if you have like a wall with like 10 images on, choose one image that just represents who you are. So go really through it and take away what is too much. Yeah. Or that is broken or cluttered. Because what we create is we create lower vibrations by when there's too much. Yeah. Sometimes I go in people's bedrooms and there's all these little gadgets everywhere. I'm like, think about when you're asleep, you get all these messages. So a Zen space, less is more, is better. And therefore you need to declutter and even open up your closets, your drawers, like on your desk before you start. What is there? You want to focus, but there's so much stuff around you. On your nightstand, there's a whole bunch of things there, but how can you sleep? So declutter the area, let go, and organize your home. I think that's the first thing I would love them to do.
Yeah, I love that. This is absolutely gold because I know for a fact there's a lot of people listening right now who this is their first introduction to this kind of stuff, and you're giving them an actionable, tangible plan that they could follow to actually start to make a difference in their life. And I love it because I know it's going to help so many people.
Beautiful.
Marie, I want to tap into something else right here too, because manifestation is a word that goes around a lot these days. And again, there's a lot of people who they think of manifestation and let's say that what comes up isn't necessarily the truth of what it actually is. I'm curious, what's the biggest mistake you see people make when they're trying to manifest?
Well, I always share with people there's actually three kinds of access to manifestation, right? So the first part is we already are manifesting from the day we are born, right? So our soul or spirit comes into this body, it already has received gifts, talents, for example, perhaps some challenges. You're born in a certain family, that's not always so easy. So you already have a basic package of manifestation. And I would call it your plan, like it's almost your sole purpose in life. So already know that you're already manifesting from that moment on, right? Everything you're creating, programming, everything you learn from your father, mother, from your school, from the culture, you already are manifesting what is given to you. Yeah. So people always think like, oh, now from now on, I start manifesting. No, you're already manifesting from day one. You're literally manifesting yourself from, the combination of an Excel and a C to become this human being that you are. That's already a manifestation at work, right? So that's one thing I want people to see. The misconception is not something I start now. You already are doing it. Yeah. The second part is that at a certain point in life, we become more aware of the our human impact on manifestation. So it's like when we start thinking, well, if I think differently, when I think more positively, when I'm more grateful, when I take action towards the goals that I have, when I have a different behavior, I behave differently to people, to the world. Instead of negative behavior, I do positive behavior. So our human potential, the impact of that, yeah, is also part of our manifestation. And so that is, I would say, since the secret, that part, that law of attraction manifestation has just become more mainstream. That people know, like, if I think more positive, it's more likely that I manifest something more positive. It doesn't mean that once in a while some difficult things will not happen. That's part of life, but the way you react towards it can be different. Yeah. So you tap in to that human potential. It's also using your talents. Let's say you have a great voice and you have been given that when you were born, but you never work on it. You only keep it to yourself in the shower. Let's be honest, that voice will never come to its fullest potential unless you're getting coached, unless you practice, unless you study about it, unless you perform like in front of people. So you get that talent, but do you work that talent? And that's your human potential. That is what you have control over, but it needs discipline. You cannot just do it once in a while, because a lot of people say, "Oh, I asked the universe." I'm like, "Yeah, and then what did you do with it?" Right? I asked to, let's say, make more money. And I said, "And what did you do then?" Right? "Well, I'm just waiting." Right? And I said, "Well, you need to repeat that. You need to consistently ask that question and take action towards that question, because in the word law of attraction, we have the word action. So have you studied something extra? Have you reached out with letters or emails to companies? Or, have you asked other people, do you know about a new job? I'm looking. So if you hold it for yourself and you bury that talent and that request in the earth itself, like in yourself, literally, nothing will happen. You need to really work with your goal. So that's your human potential you need to use. And the last part, and that's what I always say, the missing link for many people in manifestation, is to know that you're not just manifesting in your mind and your body, you're manifesting it also around you. So if your home is aligned with the goals that you have, if your home is reflecting of the vision you have, your purpose that you have, then I would say the first place where you will manifest is in your home, is where you sleep, live, and work. This is where you manifest first. So if that's aligned with it, you will manifest faster. So there's a lot of people think, oh, it takes so long because your home is telling a different story. And so I always say, let's say you want romance, but you have everything around you telling you are lonely, then I'm telling you your home will win because it's bigger and it's consistent. The message is consistent. Yeah. So if you then can align that and say, no, I'm putting images and colors around me that can support my dream of being with somebody, then you are going to manifest faster. So the home is an activator of manifestation.
Yeah. That's so powerful, everything that you just said right there. And I wanna go back to the second point that you touched on right there, because I use the example of, let's say you're a one of the best wrestlers in the world and you know your natural gift is wrestling or whatever the heck it is, but you never go to any wrestling meets. You never you're only training, you're only doing stuff inside your own house, but you're never giving people an opportunity to actually see you. And then you're just waiting to go to the Olympics one day, but you're not actually doing the things that's going to put you in the position to where manifestation's actually be able to take its course and actually bring you there. And I think a lot of people make that mistake, like you said. It's that they have this idea and then they know that they're good at something, but then they're just waiting and they don't take that action part. They don't understand that, you have to put yourself in the position for manifestation as well to guide you there. And I just want people to take a second and really think about that for a second, is what are some things that you're doing right now that you're not allowing other people to see? Like, how can you allow other people around you to actually receive your gift, to put yourself in a position to where you can go further, to actually manifest the life that you want? And I encourage people to really take a second to think about that and maybe write it down and give yourself an action plan for what's one step you can take today to actually start to do that.
Yeah, I totally love what you just said. And so sometimes people don't know the actions, but I would say at least try to once a day do something towards that goal, right? And it can be literally doing some research about this, right? Like how do I, or watch a video, or listen to somebody who is more advanced. Like if you talk about wrestling, I mean, perhaps there's some wrestling podcast or something that I can imagine there exists, or you can tap in or follow a famous wrestler, for example. You see some videos or whatever. It doesn't always means you have to look outside of your house, but you need to program yourself every day. Like literally, I am learning AI, right? So, because I'm leading a company, so we are bringing AI into images to whatever we can. And so this morning, I was like, you know what? I never made a video with AI. So I just made for this morning a video with AI. So every day I learn something about AI. Now, I'm not a master in AI, but I am needing it. I need it for my company. So I was just so proud this morning showing my husband that I made a little video with AI. But the thing is, if I could have said, no, I'm not going to do that, I don't want to, I'm going to stay in the past. Yeah. No, you have to understand, you always have to move forward. You need to make it and do it in the present time, in the now time, because manifestation happens now. And if you don't show the universe or God that you're really implementing, that you're really integrating, that you're really taking steps, the universe is like, well, yeah, I got that request, but I had so many requests, like one-time requests. I'm not going to fulfill all of them. We as a human being have to show that we are committed to the goal that we have. Yeah. So not just an intention, but a commitment every day. I mean, I didn't become successful and worldwide if I would not have committed every day to what I'm doing.
Yeah. That's amazing right there. And what's funny about that is with you learning the AI is that after 3 weeks of you taking small actions every day to learn something about AI, to the person who has an idea that they want to learn AI but don't take that step, that small step every day, you're gonna appear like a master to them just after a couple of weeks. And it's so funny just the difference.
It is, my husband is like, what did we just
Yeah. But that
and
that concept of
right? So funny, right? Yeah.
yeah, just small actions every day towards the goal of what you want is going to help you to just get to the point of where you want to go. It's like there's some people who don't take that small action every day, no matter how small it is, but it's that compound interest over time too that a lot of people forget about. So I'm curious, Mary, for someone who, because a lot of my audience is in like college or they're at pivotal points in their career where they're kind of transitioning. And I think a lot of people with the times that we're in right now find themselves stuck in a rut and they're trying to figure out how the heck they can get out of it. I'm curious, what's one thing that you would recommend to people for them to try and get out of the rut and to try and create new momentum?
Yeah. So I'm going to use a technique in Feng Shui that we're using when people are stuck and stagnant. So the first thing is the way you position yourself in the space that you are will actually create a flow of energy. So when people feel stuck, it's possible that they are sitting in a position, for example, on their desk, with their desk against the wall or against the window, with their back to the door. You have to understand the door is where the people's energy comes in. When people come in through the door, they bring opportunities, possibilities, money, prosperity, ideas. So you can say, well, Marie, nobody comes into my space. It doesn't matter. You come into that space. Yeah. So let's say I'm sitting here, I'm talking to you, Joe, but if somebody comes in, I still see them in my peripheral view. Yeah. So that's the first thing. Put yourself in a power position. A king, a queen, the president of the United States in the Oval Room. The president sits in such a position behind the desk, the resolute desk, that the president sees all the doors. Yeah, because he needs to see who is all coming in. Yeah. So when you do that, you change something. You're changing your angle. And so the word change actually has two words in it, chi and angle. So it's like if you look a certain way, that's the energy you will get. If you change your angle, you actually will create a different chi, a different energy. So anytime you can, sit in a position you can see the incoming flow of people. That can be in a restaurant, can be in a conference room, can be in a meeting. Anytime you need to make an important phone call, you send an important email out at your dining room table, in your sofa, in your desk. Even when you wake up and you stand up, you see the door. Each time you do that, something you says you are in control, you're in power of your flow. This is a simple thing that I've seen people life shift like this. Literally, people saying, "I was sitting with my back to the door. My CEO would never give me a compliment. I changed my desk around, and suddenly my he could see my face. He was always seeing my back before. He started giving me compliments. I got a promotion within a month." Yeah, because you become visible to the world when you're looking at the door. So that's the first step I would love for you to do. A second step they can do to really shift their energy quickly, and you mentioned already my app. So they can actually download the Mary Diamond app. It's for free to start. And so when you go there, you will be asked to put in your birthday and your birth gender. And then you will actually get a number. And that number indicates four directions of the wind. Remember, Feng Shui is about wind that are actually strong for you. And there are four that are weaker for you. And so when people do that, they will actually get a compass. And that compass is based on their birthday, right? So it's a compass, so it will move according to the magnetic north. But for me, for example, my success direction, and it indicates, is southwest. So what you do, you hold the compass in the center of the room that you spend at least 3 to 5 hours a day in. So that could be living room, office, workspace, and bedroom. And you see what is in that success direction for you. So in my success direction, it's actually behind me. I don't look at it right now. Is my awards are there. My latest book, Your Home is a Vision Board, is there. I have some symbols there that really for me represents success and prosperity. Yeah. So by doing that and decluttering that area, putting the right symbols, statues, images, colors. So in the book Your Home is a Vision Board, you go to it leads you through the whole house to do that. But you also have a relationship direction. So to check out what is in my relationship direction. So I have always a globe there, Joe, because I'm global. So I hope you have one in your relationship direction, because you need to go global with your beautiful podcast, right? So all this is really you're activating, like acupuncture, your home. And when you start doing that, you are literally getting out of stagnant energy, because your home is going to be aligning itself with your goals.
Yeah, man, that's incredible advice. And I just want to reaffirm what you just said there, because when I first learned about all this stuff, especially through your app, I completely transformed not only my front room, but my bedroom and my office. So now every single thing that I have, I'm facing the doors. I'm able to receive the energy, see the people coming in. And it has made a huge difference in my life. Like, genuinely, it has made a huge difference in my life. And so I just want to reaffirm that for people, is that's something that you can seriously do today. Like, when I learned that, I literally that same day redid my front room and it made a difference. So I just want to say that for the audience, is that one like she just said, one step that you could take today is that, and it's easy.
It is very easy. I mean, and once it's set up, you can regularly look at it again if it still aligns with what you do. Like if I get a new award, I add the new award there, or I have a new book, I add a new book there. I mean, I will always check it out every few months if it still aligns. But it's such a simple thing. And it's not that you need discipline in it. You just need to take that action. And so you first of all will feel better in the space. I think that's your first experience, Joe. You just feel the space feels better, right? There's more energy in that space. And then you will start seeing more things will start happening, opportunities, your business is growing, your relationships start doing better, because you're aligning yourself with the right chi for you.
Yeah, that's incredible advice right there. It's been straight up gold every single second you've been on here so far. So I just want to acknowledge you and say thank you, because I know there's at least, a couple people right here that their lives are going to be changed forever just based off of what you've said so far. So number one, I just want to say thank you, Marie, for your
Thank
time and
you. Appreciate
for
it.
everything you've said so far. But I also want to ask, because you've worked with literally some of the most successful people in the world, Fortune 500 CEOs, global celebrities, and you've been able to be in the presence of what a lot of people consider to be success. So I'm curious, is there any patterns that you've seen that separate those who truly thrive from those who stay stuck?
Hmm. It's a really good question. Most of the time when I come in their offices or their space, first of all, it's decluttered. Now you can say, well, they have housekeepers, they have staff. I do understand, but at the beginning, you have to be your own housekeeper and your own staff to organize everything. And I started from a small studio, and I live now in a multi-million dollar home in Bel Air. I mean, I started small too, right? So, so that's one of the things you need to focus on. But the second thing that I've seen is that they are proud of what they have accomplished. Yeah. And they will put that out. Yeah. So many times when people have something accomplished, they are almost like afraid to show that to the world. Yeah. But also these people will talk about their accomplishments, not from a level of ego and like arrogancy, but like, yeah, like I am global best-selling author. I have received this award. They say it because it is true. They share it as a truth, right? So many times I speak to people and they're like, and I look at their bio on Instagram, for example, and I said, I know you have been part of a global best-selling book. I know you had an award. Why is that not mentioned in your bio? Oh, I read because I mentor a lot of people, and I'm like, I read their bio on their website. I'm like, why is it not mentioned that you helped so many people, or you have a podcast that is doing so well, or why is it not mentioned, right? So people that are successful will mention their success, and they don't say it out of ego, but they say it out of a truth telling. Yeah. So they're like, yes, this is who I am. I mean, it's not like, yes, this is who I am. No, this is who I am. Right. So I think that is something I've seen. And then they show it in their environments. Yeah. They have the awards out. Yeah. They do have the books out. They put out the pictures if they have something with successful people. I say to people when they see me, like sometimes very randomly, people see me on the street and they come up to me, and I always say to them, take a picture now. Yeah. So, and take that picture. How many times have you said, oh, Maria, I follow you on Instagram? But take a picture and put that in your home, right? Because how many times do you meet a successful person? You don't have that always, right? So put these pictures out. Or if you cannot have these pictures, fake the pictures. I mean, create it with Canva or something, right? So I had to do that in the beginning. I did not have these people around me. I just put pictures out. Yeah, that I just created and put it out. So from that perspective, there is something that you need to honor more. You need to honor more your own successes. And you also have to tell the universe, I want more of it. Because if you don't put it out, then literally you cannot have more of it.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's mind blowing to me because right there, I haven't really considered that or thought about that. So I know for a fact that at least almost all of the listeners right now haven't thought about that too, and that's something that is it's so true. Is your successes right there, and the stuff that you've accomplished is a lot of people will hide that away, or they're afraid to put that out, or they're scared if of it's their ego. But if you are proud of something and you accomplish something, have
Yeah,
that there, have that
yeah.
out. That's true.
Yeah, you have done courses. You have a certification. Put that in a gold looking frame because gold is telling you will be more abundant. You will make money from it. And put that, for example, in your success direction. If you don't have yet that best-selling book, put some best-selling books that you're thinking, oh, this would be like in that category of books. Put that out there. I mean, I literally made sometimes fake covers, right? And put it around a best-selling book of some of the famous authors. And I put it in my success direction. Did I fake it? I did not fake it. It's just I kept visualizing that energy. I put a fake Oscar statue out in my success direction, right? And now I have helped more than 20 Oscar award winning clients. So it's not that you're faking it, it's you're reminding yourself with these images, with these things around you, like, this is what I am, this is who I am, and this is what I want to become. And so it's not a faking, it's literally increasing the imagination. Yeah, because visualization is something we all know, but remember, your home can help you as a vision board to help you visualize the dreams that you want to accomplish.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many people that will learn something and then they'll just expect themselves to remember it, and then like the next day, because they didn't take action with that information, or they didn't write it down or put it somewhere, it's just gone, and then they're on to the
Yes.
next thing. And this
Yes.
is the same concept right here. If it's like, if you want something and you're just thinking about it in your head all the time, there's a strong chance that life is going to happen and other things are going to come up. But if it's visible in front of you and you could see this stuff all the time, it's going to help you to stay attached and anchored to what you want, and not be reactive to the environment, but be proactive. And I love that right there, because I think that's so important. That's something I try doing, is making sure that what it is that I want is visually in front of me. Like, that's something that's so important to me, because like I said, life happens, and not everything is good all the time. And having reminders of what you want is so important for me personally.
Thank you. And I think it's such an easier way to remind, because a lot of people now they write down their goals or their things in a journal. And I said, that's great, but then put your journal in your success direction because it will actually manifest faster. Or you make a vision board, put it in your success direction because you will see it. Right. So, or even take a picture of it, of that vision board, and put it as your screen of your phone or on the screen saver of your computer. So the more you see your dreams, the more you see these things you want to manifest, the more you remind yourself, this is actually what I'm focusing on. So because if you just have one idea, it's not going to manifest. Yeah, because there's not a repetition. There needs to be a repetition and a consistency of the same intention.
Yeah. Okay, for listeners right now, I want you to pause, go to the show notes. You'll see the link for the Marie Diamond app. Go download that right now and just put your information in, figure out your compass, your success direction, and just get an awareness of where that is right now. Because if you take that action right now during this episode, you're going to be much more likely to actually follow through with it later. So I just want everyone to do that real quick, get that, and then use the information we've talked about on this podcast so far to actually start to place things in those directions and actually redo some of your household or your room, or take one small action today. But Marie, I also want to ask you, because I've heard you say that your mission is to enlighten 500 million people. And I'm curious, where does that level of drive come from? And like, how do you stay grounded through it all?
Mm. Very good question. Well, I was just talking yesterday with Reverend Michael Beckwith, who's also in The Secret. He said, well, we definitely got to 500 million with The Secret. We got probably to 1 billion already. So I said, yeah, check, that's done, right? But I would say I got a second chance in life when I was 15. I mean, I was declared dead, and, they kept reviving me, and ultimately I came back through. So I think from that moment on, I ask myself every morning the question, like, God, universe, I am here to enlighten more than 500 million people. Please show me how. That's actually my request every day, right? And so the second question I always ask every day, God, universe, show me how I can love more. I don't think about how can I make more money, right? Because money is always following whatever you do in the highest good. But I just ask, how can I love more? How can I love more myself? How can I love more my family, my friends, humanity, the leaders, whatever I need to focus on that day. So I ask these questions, and because I ask these questions, it becomes such a daily routine that then that's the person I need to meet. Like yesterday, I was doing a podcast that will be seen by probably millions of people. But at the same time, I'm coming out of that podcast studio and my Uber app didn't work. And so I had to kind of walk 3 blocks so to get a signal for some reason. And I'm seeing a bank that's actually the bank that I am also part of. And I go inside because I'm thinking, okay, if I go in there, I can have access to the Wi-Fi from the bank. And I come inside, and suddenly this woman, a banker, she comes up to me like, oh my God, Marie Diamond, I follow you on my app, on my Instagram. Oh my God, you have changed my life. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's the millions of people that will watch that, and that one person that need to talk to me. So I knew the universe has played with me a little bit that day to make sure my Uber app wouldn't work, right? So, but at least, and I took 5 minutes of my time to talk to her. Yeah, let's take a picture. Do you have my book? I had an extra copy. I gave her the book, right? So it's like, that's the whole thing. I am so in surrender of my mission, Joe, right? That I always in that flow because my home is in flow with me. I'm getting supported by my home. I'm surrounded with people that are in my flow, that love supporting me. If it's my family, if it's my team, if it's people like you asking me to bring forward my work. Thank you for that, Joe. But all these things is like I'm in that constant flow. Yeah. And there are moments that you're not, and that's okay too. Right? There are moments I'm like, I'm really tired right now. I'm going to step out of that flow. My body needs some rest, right? But perhaps you're also still in the flow because you're taking rest. Yeah. So the whole point is I have such a passion for it. Yeah. And every day I rekindle that passion. I reconnect with that passion. I reconnect with that vision. And then what that day brings to me, I'm also super grateful. Like at the end of the day, I look back, I'm so deeply grateful. Oh my God, I was able to do this, meet that person, make this book, did this course. It's an ongoing expression of my mission. So yeah, it's the greatest life I could have ever manifested.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful mission right there. And I want to ask you something. Did you say that money will follow when you're serving the highest good? Is that what
Yes,
you said?
I did say that. Yeah,
Yeah, that's so I love that because I think a lot of people they won't start from how can I serve the highest good? How can I receive love every day, give love every day? I think a lot of people start with how can I make more money every day? How can I get this car? How can I do all of these things every day? And I think it holds so many people back because you're a lot of times when people are doing that is they're also ignoring things like love. They're also ignoring things like relationships. Like I mean, that's something that I did when I first said like the most important thing for me was money or was getting status or something like that. Especially when I was younger, it's like it wasn't until recently when I was able to self-reflect and be like, well, at the cost of doing all those things, I wasn't able to give my own personal talents to other people. I wasn't able to give love. I wasn't able to receive love. I was ignoring relationships, friendships, all of these things that truly bring love and abundance into my life because I
yeah,
was starting with something that I thought was success. So I was manifesting nothing that I truly wanted in my heart because what I had as my why at the surface of my heart wasn't actually the truth.
yeah. And it's of course it's understandable when you are in a place of survival, right? That you're
Mhm.
looking for the extra money. Now, that can be definitely one of your goals. Don't get me wrong with that. But I always say when you write your goals, write goals like this. Goals for your success, career, for money, for your relationships, for your health, and for your inspiration and wisdom. Yeah. So write goals on these 4 or 5 aspects, not just about money. Right? Of course, I have some goals for my business that I want to attain. Of course, you don't want to create debt and you want to make sure you pay everybody and you have still profit. I mean, that's business goals, right? But your personal goals, I don't think in how I want to create that kind of money. I'm always focusing on my impact. Yeah. So what is my impact number? Because I know the more I impact, the more I will regenerate money because people buy the books, they buy the courses, it's like, but you need to also be generous in your giving. Yeah. And so if you do that generosity, not because you want to make money, because you want to create impact, that impact will generate abundance for you. Yeah. And that's what a lot of people sometimes they have to first focus on that, like you did, till they understand the more impact I make, right? The more ultimately people will want to be coached by you or want to be taking your courses because, like, wow, that generosity of heart, and you do it for the right intention, yeah, is what makes all the difference.
Yeah. It's so beautiful too because once I made that shift in my life from making sure that I'm impacting people around me, I mean, my life has grown so. I mean, the people that got attracted into my life is just, I love it. I can't say it enough is that for the people who are listening right now who are in survival mode, because I've been there, trust me, and I'm sure Maria you have too, and you're only focused or you're only worried about the money. Yes, have that as a goal, please, but also do not forget about the people that are gonna, because money is gonna come eventually, but don't forget about the people that are around you that right now you could help or that could help you. Because if you dedicate 5 years of your time where you're just completely hustling and chasing that money and you forget about all those things, it's that in 5 years you might have that money, but those relationships might not be reattainable. They might be gone. They might you know. So just make sure that you're being aware of that. Is that the relationships at the end of the day are going to outlive and outlast everything, and make sure that you're investing a good amount of time into keeping those there.
Yeah. Well, it's so important because when I look back, I have students that are more than 30 years with me, like
Mm.
literally are still my students. Many of them have also become dear friends, of course. But it's like I'm 35 years with my husband this week. So it's just like I really invested a lot in that and I invest a lot of my energy and my passion into my students. Because if you don't do that from that perspective, I have so many friends and colleagues and I'm in good standing with so many people and they can reach out to me. I can reach out to them to support each other. And that is the true treasure of life, you know?
Yeah. No, that's so beautiful and absolute gold. And Maria, I want to ask you one thing right here because I know there's somebody who's listening or they're going to see this on social media in a clip, and manifestation and energy just isn't something that they might have tried it once or they might have heard of it once, and then they completely just thought, okay, I'm skeptical about this and never again have tried it. So I'm curious, what advice would you give to someone who feels too logical or skeptical about energy manifestation?
Well, I just want to point out to people that I'm an international criminal lawyer from background, right? So if there's somebody who's logistic and logic, it's me. Okay. So if somebody who is an international criminal lawyer is becoming a feng shui master, it means there is logic even in energy. Right? So that's what we call quantum physics. I mean, Einstein started understanding that energy matters and that energy is actually creating matter. And he even put a formula out for it, right? E is mc square. So the whole thing is now, even the science knows, and they have proven enough that everything has actually a vibrational field, has a wavelength. Yeah. So if you're logic, then I would say explore checking out people that talk about quantum physics. And they already now more and more can prove that. They can show that everything has energy. Even with some Kirlian photography, for example, you can see that every leaf has or every flower has energy, even if you take it out, and that it will still stay having energy. So there's so much proof right now out there. So if you do some research, you'll be like, oh, so even universities, are looking into that right now. And so I would say, okay, it's great that you have a logistic mind or a logic mind. We all have that, but we also have a creative part of us. We have two brain waves, right? Two brain halves, sorry. So we have the left and the right brain. One is logic and one is creative. And so why don't we open up to both of that? That's kind of what I did. It's really interesting. I'm also left and right-handed at the same time. So I have always had that opening, right? And so we have learned sometimes to stop that creative part of us and just if you feel like you're too logic, then perhaps start drawing, start doing something more creative, start working in your garden, like do something more creative and you will be more opening up to energy anyhow. But, a lot of the top people in the world that talk about energy or doctors or they have a high degree in college. So it's not like I would say 100 years ago where people would talk about energy would be monks or would be like coming from the East. A lot of the Western teachers have high degrees and are very logic people, but they also have studied the quantum physics behind it. And so just explore that.
I am so happy that you said that because knowing that too, that in your background right there, I know that because a lot of people when they hear about this stuff, they don't do their research or they don't dive into like who is actually the people that is teaching this stuff. Like they won't know that about you about that criminal background and stuff like that, the criminal lawyer. Yeah, no, not the criminal back, the criminal. Yeah, yeah, exactly. But now that they know that it's
I studied law and studied criminology, and I worked for the European and the Belgian government to create law. I mean, literally, I was one of the people that made laws for the government. And so, I mean, you have to be very logic for doing this, but it's all part of understanding that. Um, it's like my spiritual mentor said, there are the human laws and there's the energy laws, right? And so when we focus that the energy laws ultimately are connect with our humanity, right? And so what we see is that if we just look into it, like explore that, don't push it away, right? Just know there is so much information right now that I didn't have at 15 that you have now all over the internet.
yeah. That's just so golden. If you are that person who's listening to this episode right now that you were skeptical about this stuff before, or you just felt like you never had a good explanation for any of that, I would love if you would just message me or Marie and just let us know. Let us know that you're that person that listening to this episode changed all of this for you, because that's my favorite thing. I just love hearing people who say, like, I never thought of this stuff this way. And like this is the reason, or this was the catalyst that led them to do that, because now that person or whoever's listening to this right now, you could be that person that does that for someone else. And that's exactly how change happens. It's like just changing one person at a time leads to change and creates that reaction. So
And move
message us, let us know.
past it forward. Yeah.
Yeah, Pat, exactly. Now, Maria, I want to be respectful of your time. So I want to ask you one final question, which is one of my personal favorite questions, which is, if today was your last day on earth and you could leave behind or say three things to your grandkids, to people who are listening this in the future, 100 years down the line, of what exactly is most important to you and how can they get through life knowing the lessons that you've known?
Well, it's interesting. Somebody recently asked something similar, and it was like, if it would be the last day on life, and I would say, I would be very happy with whatever I have done in this life. To be honest, I'm like, am I complete? No, but I'm definitely super happy with everything. What I would say to people, first of all, is when you have an idea that comes to you, accept that idea and honor that idea. Don't like throw that idea away, because when you receive an aha moment or an insight, this is probably one of the most valuable things that you receive. Yeah. I got an idea. I was given an idea to enlighten more than 500 million people. I did not throw that away. I could have said, what a BS, right? But I didn't. Yeah. I respected the idea, right? That's the first thing I always say when, and my children are very creative. And when they come and like, Mom, we want to do this, I said, great idea. Honor the idea. Try it at least out. Yeah. So that's the first thing I would say to people, because that idea is given by your soul, spirit, God, the universe. Trust and honor it. Try it out. The second thing is, of course, be grateful for your life. Yeah. I have been in a place where I almost lost my life. I've been in a place where I had no money. I hadn't been in a place where I had no home. I've been there. I've been on the other side. Yeah. But I am so grateful for everything. And I start my day with gratitude and I end my day with gratitude. Yeah. So a lot of people start their day, but then they forget at the end of the day to thank the universe, God, for what amazing things they have gone through and even the challenges, that the lessons you learned. Yeah. Because it's not all the positives. Sometimes you need to also be more grateful for the negatives that have happened. And the third thing, and we actually talked about it, is like focus on love. Yeah. Loving yourself, loving other people, and instead of judging them and judging yourself. And also, when you feel you have judged yourself a lot and others, um, try to go in a mode of forgiveness, a mode of letting go. And even if it's not always so easy to do that right away, at least start forgiving yourself for judging yourself so hard.
Hmm. I love that. How can we and the listeners right now support you best? Where can we go to get more, Marie? Where can they go to get more of your content, learn, just get more involved in what you got going on?
Well, I would say, first of all, get to the newest book, Your Home is a Vision Board. It's available in good bookstores on Amazon. It's so many people are buying the book now because they have bought it and gave it to other people and their lives are changing. Get and download the free version of the app because it connects in with the book, so you need to go through your home with it. Then, of course, go to YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Mary Diamond Official. There are millions of views of all the videos we have. There's always videos coming up every week that just give you this little aha moment, what you can do, something very practical. You can practice right away. Um, of course, you can check out Mary Diamond podcast, following me on marydiamond.com, and just start downloading the app, Joe. That's the first step.
Awesome. And all of that will be in the show notes below for everyone who's listening right now. Get involved again, the Marie Diamond app. I hope that's the first thing that everyone does right now, because all of this information we talked about in this episode is going to be amplified when you download the app, and you can kind of learn your direction, your compass, your number, and your direction. So please do that, number one. But Maria, I also wanted to just thank you and just give you a bunch of love and gratitude myself here, because I know that at least one person's life is going to be transformed from this episode, which means that it was a success in my eyes. And
Perfect.
again, just thank you for your time and for your mission and for all the good that you do in this world.
But thank you, Joe, and also thank you for bringing forward the hero's blueprint, right? And stepping up into your mission and into your purpose. And I know you have been really helping many people out there. So thank you for your mission.